Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since 96, and you're watching my post-match press conference reaction where I'll be discussing Mikel Arteta's press conference, what he had to say about the game. This was a very interesting one. He talked a lot about the game, why the 30 minutes happened the way it did, the mentality of the team. He touched on international players going out on international duty, the importance of it as well. So obviously we're not going to talk about the whole press conference, otherwise we'll be here for a very long time. I've condensed it into, well, I haven't really condensed it. I've taken out 3 key quotes that I want to discuss because I think it tells a lot about the plans, where we go from here, and how we cross that hurdle. Because yesterday's game, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it was a good point, but it wasn't good enough. The start wasn't good enough. We were punished way too easily. Against any other team, maybe not any other team, but against maybe another team above us, whether it be Leicester, whether it be United, whether it be City, Everton, Villa even maybe, you know, if they're 3-0 up, they're good. They're teams that are good enough to preserve that lead. So count ourselves a little bit lucky, but also credit to the boys for the work that they put in order to get that point and, you know, bring that scoreline onto level terms. So yeah, 3 quotes. The first question that I pulled out from the press conference is this: does it feel like sometimes you have 2 different teams, a good Arsenal and then a really bad Arsenal? This is a great question. And Arteta says, yeah, this is my responsibility because before we could not play at that level. Now we can. So we cannot go from here to there. We have to be all the time here. This is where we are heading, and we have to stop giving the opponent anything, because the last shot they had when they hit the post is again a throw-in when we are free. We give them the ball and they are through, and it's too simple. I admire Arteta's vision of where he wants to take Arsenal, and I tend to agree that this is a very different Arsenal side to the one that we saw last season. The last season, the boys were grinding out results, and with fans being available as well, and with teams not stepping up to the plate as much as they have this season, it worked. You know, we got away with it somehow, but the football was atrocious. This season, I have noticed a different style of football that Arsenal have been playing. Very aggressive, very intelligent. The desire and passion to win the ball, the desire and passion to keep the ball, the passing in and around each other, you know, having right players at the right place. For example, Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe as the number 10, that's worked. Saka on the left-hand side, or the right-hand side, sorry, that's worked. Lacazette playing a different role up front, that's worked. Our centre-back partnerships has worked. You know, regardless of what you think about Arteta and what you think about what he's done, you cannot argue that our defence has looked somewhat better this season compared to last season's. And you can bring out all the statistics you want. Ultimately, the goals that we've been conceding from the back have come down to individual errors. And obviously, we'll talk about that in a little bit, because there's a question which is relevant to that. But look, you know, as he says, it is his responsibility ultimately that we cut out these problems. But he said it at the beginning, we couldn't play how we're playing at the beginning. That's why he had to start with playing 5 at the back. That's why he had to play in such a reserved, conservative manner where he would set up the team to hit on the counter-attack. Now Arsenal at the forefront. Now they can play the brand of football that he's trying to promote. Keeping the ball, being possessive, being dominant, putting pressure in the opposition final third, forcing them to cause errors. You know, look at the Tottenham games, a prime example of how well we can play, and we can do it. But He says that we have to be here all the time. We cannot go from here to then here, or from here to here, or however you're looking at it. Basically, we can't move backwards. And yeah, like he said, the goal where they hit the post from a throw-in, really, really easy. Just lapsing concentration. Again, not focusing, not in the right space, not at the right time. So I somewhat agree with Mikel that we have moved forward. We are playing better football. I think the problem lies when we don't have the ball. That needs to be better. We need to fix that, because when we don't have the ball, it seems like we are in second gear and we're sort of playing catch up, unable to really read what the opponent's going to do, not really watching who's around us, more ball watching. And that frustrates me more than anything. You shouldn't be ball watching in the Premier League. You need to know who's around you and you need to get into a good shape. You need, as soon as you lose the ball, it's just click into your head, right, what's going to happen next? Where do I need to be? And I think that's where Mikel needs to work on next, really, because like I said, when we have the ball, we've looked really, really good. And that second half showed it. But the next question asks, appropriately, what's the next step now? I'm really interested to hear what Mikel has got to say about this, because, you know, I'm assuming, well, actually, I know he's going to give a bog standard media trained answer. Well, next we've got Liverpool, blah, blah, blah. So this is what he says. Well, the next step is that they go to international break. Then I want to watch the game and analyse it and start to focus on Liverpool and the Europa League to start to prepare those games. So when everybody's back, we are ready to go. In the meantime, we have some players still here that we have to train, them and do it best possible way. Do it in the best possible way and go for the next match. I'm not happy with that answer, because obviously he completely deflects it. He doesn't really answer what the reporter was asking. It wasn't necessarily, you know, what's next. Literally, it was talking about where do we go from here. But you know, it's good. I like a manager that has tunnel vision. And I get the impression that Mikel Arteta has tunnel vision. I get the impression that, you know, he doesn't want to overcomplicate it, because it's easy when you're in a situation like this and you're moving 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's easy to get lost in the moment and just to focus on too many things. But, you know, to simplify it, you got international break. Liverpool is next. You focus on that. And you try and cut out the errors from the game against West Ham. I'm hoping that he takes this period, you know, uses this period well, because this is the period where Arteta can finally spend some time on readjusting or perfecting or fixing the problems and the way that he wants to play at Arsenal. You know, he hasn't had time. I can't remember the last time where he had a lengthy period of time off like this. Since Boxing Day, it's been non-stop. I think we had a slight 5-6 day break, a week break in the middle of between Boxing Day and now. But, you know, he's got 10 days. He's got 10 days, and it will be really interesting to see how Arteta plans to fix these problems, but also continue with the transformation of Arsenal. You know, there are problems there that are easily identifiable. Get those problems, you know, get those issues ironed out, get the creases ironed out. And, you know, where do we go with people like Aubameyang? Like, what do you do with him? Because if I see Aubameyang start against Liverpool, that's a massive worrying red flag for me, you know. So, yeah, like I said, it will be interesting to see what he does. And finally, the final question that I wanted to take out from his press conference is about what's going on in the background and how that's affecting the performances on the pitch. And then the reporter asks, is the inconsistency about changing the culture around the team over a period of time, and is that your most difficult challenge? That is it's a fundamental question, because everything revolves, this whole Mikel Arteta project revolves around this one word, culture. Culture at Arsenal Football Club has been so dominant. It's been at the focal point of everything we do. Ever since Arsene Wenger has been here, he has introduced the culture. That's changed over time. Arteta's here now. This whole culture has dramatically changed. I'll answer the question and then I'll try and talk about that a little bit more. So in response to that question, Arteta says, probably. Now I'm not worried about the culture because we've come so far on that. I've seen so many positive things to be confident with what I'm saying. Today was one of those again because I've seen completely different reactions with each other as a team. The belief, the energy, I'm not worried with that. I'm worried with the levels that we can show within a game. And that's where I think we're still far from the top teams. Bang on, absolutely right. The levels are not being shown consistently enough. In the second half, no one can tell me that Arsenal aren't a good team. No one can tell me that this team aren't capable of winning football matches, because they clearly are. To be 3-0 down and then to claw it back 3-3, you need belief, passion, talent. You need everything within a football team to grind out a result like that. And they did it. And so, when the question is about culture and how that's affecting the team, I see that more of a transition phase. How are these boys coping with the fact that we got a new manager who's implementing all these new ideas and the club is going through a rebranding sort of phase? Not necessarily rebranding, maybe like a relaunch. You've got different individuals in the back room. In the background, you got the likes of Edu, Sven Mislintat's gone, Raul Sanyehi's gone. You've got Arteta being promoted to manager. You've got Josh Kroenke all of a sudden taking over from his dad as the spokesperson or as the head of Arsenal Football Club. You've got Vinay, who is now the CEO. He's taken over from Raul, and I'm sure there's other things that we don't know of. All the different coaching staff that's been brought in. It's a big change, okay? But that's not an excuse for me. Just because a club is going through change, they have different figures, different individuals. That shouldn't have an impact on what's happening on the pitch. But what I think is having an impact on the pitch is what Arteta expects of them as human beings. I think they're having to change, or they're having to develop themselves as characters in the background and as characters on the pitch. I think more than anything, Arteta expects of them human characteristics that are consistent at all times. And I think that has an impact, inevitably, because when you're asked to behave in a certain way, when you're asked to react in a certain way, you're asking another person to change the way that they process things in their minds psychologically. So I get that, changing the culture so drastically can have a negative impact on the pitch, but it shouldn't. But ultimately, these are human beings, and it does. And if, you got two arguments here. Keep the culture the same, continue with the performance in the long-term run, in the long run, you don't really know what you're going to get because things are very unstable. Or you got the other side, you got the flip side of the coin where you change the culture drastically, you have a bumpy start at the beginning, but in the long run, you have got a club that is going to be well run, that is going to have the right culture and set themselves up mentally to win the big competitions, to win the big trophies. And he says it right at the end. I'm not worried with that. I'm worried with the levels that we can show within a game, and that's where I think we're still far from the top teams. Remember, he's come from Man City. He knows exactly what's needed in order to run a football club efficiently, not just efficiently, but to run it to the highest possible standards. And I commend him for trying to implement those changes at Arsenal. The question is, how long is it going to take? Are fans going to be patient enough to wait? And are the board members, Vinay, Edu, are they going to be on board with it to see this out in the long run? Forget about Vinay and Edu. It's more Stan Kroenke, really. So, hats off to him for attempting this challenge, because it's a big task. It's a big job. The moment that Arsene Wenger left, we knew this was going to be years of struggle. This was going to be years of change and being able to get someone else in and for things to settle, you know. So United are still going through it. Ever since Alex Ferguson's left, how many managers have they had? So we're doing a far better job than them, I can say that. And we're heading in the right direction. I just hope, like I said, that Arteta uses these 10 days, this international break, to really step it up a gear and to make some big strides going forward. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. I'm hoping to be back again tomorrow. I know we're on international duty, but I still want to push out content. I still want to talk about Arsenal. So hopefully I'll be doing a range of different videos looking at Arsenal players on international duty, discussing what's going on more in the background, latest news that comes out, transfer targets, and maybe delving deeper into the problems, i.e. the boardroom. I'd like to do a series when I look into each board member and see what they've done in the time that they've been here. But yeah, I'll be back, no doubt, tomorrow. I'll be back with another video. But until then, stay home, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.